The famous photographer Man Ray, who later became famous, had me posing for he paid me $5 for the day to pose for some portraits. It was art, experimental art he was doing. And so I posed for him, I got $5, and I thought, well, he's a weird man, imagine taking my picture. I said, but look how weird the pictures are. Yeah, well, it figures. But he was painting on the negatives. He was, not the negatives, on the finished print. One day I saw he was painting on it, and I said, can you do that? That looked very strange indeed. He was just painting right on the photograph, and I thought, that's odd. The photo is done with chemicals. The illusion is done with chemicals, and now this is a different substance, and it looks lumpy on there, and I wonder if that's all right. And he said, well, of course it's all right. He said, it's art. He said, I selected the marble. I selected the subject matter. I suggested the weight. I decided which way to pose the model. I took the photograph. And I printed the photograph, and I look at it, and I say it needs improving. And the way I would like to improve it is I'd like it darker here, lighter here, and look a little wider here. And so he said I could do it laboriously with the same chemicals, but I choose to do it with something of greater substance in a brush, and that's how I choose to do it. And I'm an artist, and this is my art, and I say this is what I'm doing, and therefore I'm doing it.
Therefore it's valid, yeah.
He validated himself.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, okay, I guess that's right, but I'm not an artist, so it's none of my business, is what I thought. Years and years later, I did a little of it myself. Just on many, many decades later, I know why I did it. Because I saw someone else do it, and I emulated that someone else, forgetting that it had come from Man Ray, and that was Andy Warhol. When he first did the big blow-ups of the people, and I read how he did it, he'd take a photograph of Marilyn Monroe, and then he'd blow it up big, and then he'd paint on it, right over, follow the image with his brush, and then he'd photograph that, and enlarge that even bigger, and then paint on that a second painting, and then photograph it again. So it was several layers of photographs, painting a photo, and painting. Huh?
I didn't realize that was how you did it.
That's how we did it. Isn't that interesting? So I did one of Vampira just for the hell of it, of the famous portrait, the one from Plan 9, where she, like the Mona Lisa. So I blew that up, and I painted on it, blew it bigger and painted on it, and it looks like an Andy Warhol.
You've done quite a lot of portraits of Vampira, haven't you? I think.
Yeah, I did some. I don't paint anymore.
How come you gave up painting?
I moved to this neighborhood. It's the Greenwich Village of Los Angeles, and it has no art supply store anywhere near. There's nowhere. I don't know how the artists survive. They've all moved to Eagle Rock, which isn't far away. Maybe there's an art store in Eagle Rock. There's no place here to get brushes. I couldn't get. The supplies I needed were many miles in that direction for one thing and many miles that way for another, and I don't drive a car. I had to hire someone for $40 every time I wanted to pick up a can of spray paint. Ridiculous. So I had to give up. Doesn't matter. I had patrons lined up who were going to buy. I was going to do the monsters, portraits of the screen monsters. And I had customers lined up for one a month for 8 months, and that was going to cover most of my rent. And then I ran out of supplies, and my seller dropped out. I think he had a nervous breakdown, but he went away, so then I had no contact. He ran away with all the addresses. He lost everything. So I didn't know. I had no contact with those people. I don't know who they were now.